such a great research for us to always fall back on, right?
Yes, I love this one. This just gives us an idea of how far ahead the kids in our lives actually can think about what's coming. So 2 years old, they're concerned about now. They don't care about later. And then that ability, that time horizon development, that grows as they get older. But, my kids are between third and then up to 14. I love that they're really able to plan ahead and think somewhere between that 1 to 3 day period. Something that's 2 weeks in advance is really not of a whole lot of concern to them. They're not planning for 2 weeks ahead of time. They're in that 1 to 2 day period of time.
So I think the eye-opening thing for this is, like I said in the beginning, that our adolescent brain is very different than the adult brain. When we show parents this particular data, this slide here, some of them are thinking, "Oh my gosh, this is so good for me to see. I need to kind of not loosen up, but need to be kind of more understanding and also understand why we're talking about routines and system management, because that stuff is such a godsend for kids who can't see out 3 or 4 days. But if you have we'll show some good examples, but if you have a good system in place, they don't have to try to keep it in their heads. They can't in most cases, right?
Yeah, they're not,
They don't know next week, like whatever.
yeah, our 16-year-olds are thinking about tomorrow or the day after at best. They're not thinking about how they can draft a research paper that's due in 3 weeks.
Right.
They're just not, like, it's way outside of their thinking.
Yeah, you are, but they're not. Yeah. I like this as well. We talk a little bit about, I don't want to say being forgiving, but being understanding of someone who has executive function challenges. And I threw ADHD in there too. We wanted to talk a little bit about that because a lot of the students we coach have executive function deficits, but they don't all have ADHD. But everybody that has ADHD has an executive function challenge or 2 or 3 or 4 or 11. But it just depends on the student. So we wanted to bring this up because sometimes when your EF traits, your deficits are kind of big, you need to sort of dial back 2 years to look at, like, maybe if you have a 10-year-old student, your child is 10, and then have so many EF challenges. Think about how they might think as an 8-year-old. And this isn't a bad thing. It's just trying to put a timeline perspective to it. And then if you had a really bad day, like, how the meltdowns happen, it's because your prefrontal cortex has been really trying to do its best job, and it's exhausting. And then it makes it sort of more challenging to, make some good decisions and kind of moderate your emotion. So you got to dial it back another year. So your kid could be like, dial back 2 or 3 years just at the end of the day. And that's okay, really.
And to think about this, like, on a practical level, when do we get on our kids' case about what they've accomplished for the day, what they're doing tomorrow, whether, like, if they've done their homework? Most of us get on our kids' case in the afternoons and evenings when they are done. Like, they're dialed back 3 years, not just at their normal, already difficult 2 to 3 day period. They're like, they're taxed. Their EF skills are done. So yeah. I think that on a practical level, it's important to think about this and think how you can talk to your student about the things like planning and prioritizing and filling out their calendars and all of that stuff. How can you talk to them during a time of day when maybe their EF skills aren't as taxed and where your own aren't as taxed either? I mean, we're all tired by the end of the day.
And here's one of our favorite things where we want to have, like we did for procrastination, we want to have you consider having your child and yourself if you'd like to, but this is mostly made for the student to figure out, how are you really with accountability, classwork management, time management, all of those routines and systems that are so necessary. So this is also a printable that would be pretty smart for you to go over with your child prior to jumping into the next 3-4 parts of the video.